Right, welcome along to Low Self Esteem Month. I'm chatting with Nic Prendregaust. Nic, do you want to tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Yes, morning everybody. So yes, Nic Prendregaust, my business is called Clarity Kent Counselling. And I have been a counsellor, now a therapist for probably 6 going on 7 years. But more recently now, if you like, I'm niching, specialising in being a menopause therapist and
Awesome. We
coach.
need you.
So, yeah, so kind of all the things I've worked with over the years: stress, anxiety, overwhelm, the challenge with relationships, bereavement and loss, because it shows up for us, in our midlife in terms of living loss. It's all in the mix. So it's now all being sort of badged together and
It is
spoken
actually
about. So
it's a real tsunami of everything, isn't it?
yeah.
And no great surprise that that can lead to, a hit to our confidence and our self-esteem.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the key. Certainly my experience as well. I think when we're going through midlife, and as you said, we've got the tsunami of hormones, then it does feel like the wheels, as I said, wobble or begin to kind of come off, and our kind of a confidence, because I guess we're quite often, our focus is on, as women, as females, people pleasing, looking after kind of, others, and sometimes without those healthy boundaries in, our own self-esteem, kind of can
Absolutely.
hit rock bottom, and the kind of confidence goes because the attention is away from ourselves and our own self-care. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
it's
I
a
see it.
biggie. It's a biggie in
It
midlife.
is a biggie, and I see it in the hub, daily, basically. People not recognizing themselves, maybe because their body shape's changed, maybe because their skin is changing, maybe for the sort of external stuff, but maybe because they no longer feel like they're eloquent like they used to be, because they can't find their words, maybe because they're struggling at work, because their concentration is less good.
Mm.
it, you know all of these things are just pulling out the rug from under our self-esteem, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think it's that also we begin, I think, we're not, if it's not already there, that inner critic, that
No.
inner voice that's sort of saying, I can't do that, and it's being for us to be able to shift that kind of language, that mindset to say, I can, I will. And that's very much when, and I'm sure a lot of the ladies do it, those affirmations come in, don't they? Those daily affirmations, if we can do them as I do them, whether I'm stepping into the shower or first thing in the morning, looking into the mirror, it's to say, I've got this. Because if we have that language, we get stuck in the sort of can't, mentality, and then that just erodes our confidence.
Absolutely. I know personally, I've I've spent quite a lot of energy and attention on catching the inner critic,
Mm.
because my inner critic's horrible. Oh, you're rubbish at that. Oh, Emily, you're
Yeah,
useless at that. Oh God, you always fail at that, or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And I've started challenging it. Like, it may seem like I'm going completely loopy because I'm just like basically chatting to myself,
yeah.
but I've started challenging it, going, hang on a second, where's the evidence for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming up, yeah, and kind of being able to rationalize it and say, have a conversation. It's like those, we call it, there's a great book, The Chimp Paradox, but the chimp on our shoulder. Some people at, previous clients have said it's like a parrot, it's just squawking, saying, you can't do this. And that's when we have to turn to that inner coach, or what
Yeah.
we call that compassionate voice, which is where
So
the kind of confidence comes in to say, no, you've got this, you can,
yeah.
you can do it. And that's where that self-kindness comes in, the self-compassion for
So what
ourselves.
sort of things can we do? I mean, we've talked about affirmations, but what sort of other things can we do to, that seem like they're quite little, so it doesn't feel overwhelming,
Mm.
but little things that we can just be doing, maybe every day, maybe just checking in from time to time. What things can we be doing
Yeah,
to
yeah.
help this?
There's a couple of things that I thought for a couple of things for the ladies that may still be in very busy professional careers, not self-employed,
Mm.
is the old power poses. There's a great TED talk from Amy Cuddy on it, because if, in corporate life, we're doing big presentations, and our confidence isn't there, then, we can go to the ladies and do our Beyonce or, Wonder Woman sort of power poses, just looking in the mirror and saying, look, I've I've got this, standing tall, standing proud. So that's one thing I would recommend, if we're in sort of busy, professional careers. And there, as you said, there's sort of small things that I do and we can do every day. Is one thing that I read about recently is wearing colour.
Yeah.
It's just, if we're kind of realizing that we're wearing the greys, the blacks, or the kind of dull colours, is what can we wear? How we can smarten up our wardrobe just to kind of brighten up,
Yeah.
our
And I'm
day.
gonna run with that quickly. I've started, and it's something I should have done for years, just giving little compliments to people when I see them. If I see
I was
somebody
going to come on,
who's
yeah,
wearing something I like, I'll
yeah,
tell them, and it makes you feel better as well.
yeah. I was going to come on to that, actually, acts of kindness,
Yeah.
however small, either to yourself or to other people, or, paying that sort of compliment, what somebody's wearing, how they're looking. I think it can go a long way. And a smile,
Yes.
an act of kindness, a smile that goes with it. Because as you said, you might brighten up, somebody's day, because it's about being seen, isn't it?
Absolutely. I actually,
And
I'm
being
just
heard.
gonna jump in with a little anecdote. I saw there was a lady in town, I don't know, 6 months ago or something. She was wearing the most amazing, really funky trousers with an elephant print on. Well, I mean, I was sold on those. She must have been late 70s, early 80s. I
Oh,
don't.
wow.
And
Yeah.
I just, as I walked past her, I went, "Oh my God, I love your trousers." And she just squealed like a little girl. And it was the best thing because she was like, "Oh, thank you so
Yeah.
much."
Yeah.
And I thought, "Oh, that's wonderful," because you've responded in a much more excitable way than I expected, which in turn has made me feel even
That's
better for
it. Then
doing
we
the
tell us,
compliment.
yeah,
Yeah,
and sort of, elevated our own, confidence as well. It kind of works
yeah,
both ways. I think there's also a sort of more tactile approach, like giving us ourselves a bear hug.
yeah.
That I think that's kind of, really helpful. We're in that space. We just say, no, you've got this. Tomorrow will be different, or you may feel different in the next hour, next, couple of hours. The thing that I do, which probably be a bit scary to anybody watching it, is I did a post recently on LinkedIn, singing into your hairbrush.
Yep.
Whether it's in the kitchen,
Nothing wrong with
or
that.
there's nothing wrong with that, to a favorite, 80s tune, Hear My Edge. And actually, just on that, what you wear, I don't know if anybody can see that today. I'm actually sporting, it's a sort of a disco sweatshirt, but it's got my date of birth. It's got my
Awesome.
1972 on it.
Awesome.
So, but again, just that sort of that. Sometimes it's that the nostalgic moments, just to, it sounds bizarre, but increasing your confidence, just to remember back to
Absolutely.
saying the things that you enjoyed doing,
Yeah.
as a child, or the sort of memories,
To
well.
that end, jump in puddles. If that's what you need to do, jump in puddles. Seriously.
Yeah, and I was also thinking, your sort of necklace making, bead making, my I found out from my dad the other day that my stepsister, she's sort of early mid-50s now, she's taken up knitting, but there's a connection there between doing something maybe you did in childhood, or something that does bring you joy, that can be uplifting for you, and just to, nurse that, sort of regain that kind of confidence in
And
yourself.
it gives
So
your
there's that
brain a bit
connection
of
with
a
happiness and joy.
it gives your brain a bit of downtime as well because you're focused on something without being in work, or you're not. It's That's for me is
Yeah,
how the bead
yeah,
stuff and knitting works.
yeah,
Just a lovely way to just have something that focuses me enough that the inner voice isn't bleating on at
yeah,
me too much, because I'm doing, but
yeah,
I'm not stressful doing.
yeah. And something you mentioned about the 70-year-old lady and her trousers is, I don't think we can underestimate the power of connection and
No.
community. And I'm thinking the sort of the hubs that you're running. I think just for us to not feel, lonely or alone with our symptoms or experiences, and just being able to go along and join with a group of, ladies, women, just to kind of share in those experiences, and I think it can improve our mood, just to feel
Yeah.
seen, to be heard, and we're not alone.
Yeah,
Not
and
alone.
I think post pandemic we're all the more grateful for time with other people,
Mm.
physically in people's company.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, some sort, small things, but I think they're big things.
I
The
agree.
way that kind of we can, whether it's dancing, what we do, what we say to other people, what it means to us, and how it makes us feel too. So yeah,
I mean, ultimately, it's just having a constant ABBA and Wham soundtrack, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or Whitney, as I posted recently, or Whitney in my case, or yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a very good singer, so when I put on Whitney, it's really quite painful if I try and sing it. Wham, I find a little bit less.
Well, I go to Rock Choir if people listening to this have heard it. Yeah, and I did. I posted something in the Epic Facebook group the other week. I went along to a Whitney workshop, singing workshop. So I had my sort of Whitters fix, if you like, for the afternoon, and singing and yeah, boosting my confidence as well. So
I love it. Awesome. Thank you so much, Nic.
okay, thank you.